All right, hello and welcome back to Season 1, Episode 19 of Borderline FPL, the podcast that constantly crosses the line between FPL advice and Premier League banter. My name is Chris.
My name is Ben, and it has been a while. It has been a couple weeks. It has been a couple isolation periods for both of us.
Yep.
And I'm back in my usual setup. Chris is back in his usual setup, feeling better, thankfully. And we are just about finally ready to bring you guys another episode. It's
Yeah.
been a minute, bro. It's
Yeah,
been a
it's
minute.
been a while. Last episode, I tried my hand at being a YouTuber. Is a good bit of fun. But back to regular scheduled programming today. We're going to bring you guys a pod as always. A lot has happened both in the Premier League and, FPL's been wild, crazy roller coaster as of recently.
Yeah.
For timestamp purposes, we're recording basically 30 to 45 minutes after the Norwich West Ham game that just got played. West Ham won 2-0. So that's when we're recording. It is Thursday. It's Thursday, right? Wednesday?
Today's Wednesday, bro.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday afternoon, so we're recording today so we can get out a pod for you guys to watch tomorrow. Deadline will be early Friday morning because I think, or kind of Friday afternoon because there's a Friday game.
Brighton Palace play Friday afternoon,
Okay.
So you'll have all of Friday morning to set your final changes, which you might want to wait because who knows what's going to get canceled or who's going to play or whatever.
Right.
So
For sure. Well, that being said, Ben, let's go ahead and drop into oh goodness, what just happened? There we go. We good? Can you see what I got going?
I can't see. It just says you started. Oh, nope. Now you're back.
Right, we're going to try this again. Sorry. All right. We good now?
I can't see it, but I know I can pull the table up. It's fine. Yes, no, I got you. Now I got you. No, I got you.
Okay.
We'll delay.
All right.
Wow.
Sorry about that.
Finally.
Yeah. Well, City top 10
By
points
a
ahead
lot.
of Chelsea.
By a lot.
Yeah. It's staggering at this point for sure.
It's really starting to become a race for second, third, and fourth, and first is every week. And if City beat Chelsea this Saturday, actually they play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's good luck to everybody else because the title is slowly getting wrapped up again.
Yeah, I agree. If City, especially if City take all 3 points against Chelsea in this game, I think that's GG's for the title. To be honest.
Yeah,
that'll put them.
Liverpool could jump Chelsea if they win their game in hand, but I really don't think it matters.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, I forgot Liverpool had have a game in hand, to be honest. So I guess it's not completely over yet, but City are looking absolutely like a well-oiled machine. Chelsea have 4 draws in their last 5 Premier League games, which is crazy. I actually didn't even realize that until looking at it right now. That they've kind of declined that much. I mean, they're not losing, but they're not winning, which is what matters in a title race. West Ham tonight with their extra game that they played over Arsenal took back 4th place, so they're 2 points ahead of us. But if we beat Spurs on this upcoming weekend, that'll be massive for us in terms of race for 4th at the moment.
Yeah. Spurs still with 2 games in hand on us as well, but obviously we play them and they will have tougher fixtures coming up. But Spurs could definitely be, or they are very much in that race for the top 4. Man United losing to Wolves recently.
It feels like an age ago, bro.
Oh, it feels like an age ago, but that was literally their last game.
Yeah, I know.
Why I say recently. Finally ending Ragnarok's run of unbeaten matches since he joined the club. Credit to Wolves, they were far and away the better team on the day, honestly.
Yeah. No, United looked horrible that game.
They fully deserved those 3 points. United have, I don't know, is it the manager? Is it the players? Because we've had different managers. Is it the players now? Like they just don't look inspired. They don't look up for anything.
Here's the thing, and I know it's been talked about a lot, so I don't want to like beat a dead horse to an extent, but like this 4-2-2-2 formation, like these United players don't know what they're doing. They don't understand the system. In order to play this formation, they're benching who's the player who's been their best player for a season and a half to 2 seasons before Ronaldo got here. Like I know Bruno's not been on great form, but objectively, if you look at it, he's got to be at. I would still think he's the best player in the team personally.
I'm saying Ronaldo 100%, but okay.
I mean, yeah, they're different. They're different players, and they're obviously aspects. One's a poacher, and one's a creative midfielder for them. But I just think I don't know if that's the play. Is obviously Ronaldo's almost not working well unless he has a striker pairing. So they're playing Cavani up top with him pretty consistently, in the two up top, and then it's been Greenwood and Sancho on the wings. So Rashford's been horrible. Rashford has been absolutely terrible.
If Rashford gets called up to England in this next set of international break over someone like Jared Bowen, I'd be shocked, because that means that Southgate's playing favorites and not playing form.
Yeah.
Because Rashford has been abysmal this season.
He's been so bad.
Him and Sancho both don't deserve a call-up, in my opinion.
Sancho's been all right, honestly, when I've watched him.
I don't think he deserves a call-up over the likes of like a Smith Rowe, Saka, or a Bowen.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I just think Sancho hasn't been horrible when I've watched him. He's been at least like progressing the ball forward.
Well, the interesting thing for me about Man United is with Ragnarok, obviously he's the temporary manager, and they're going to look to bring someone else in potentially if things keep going the way they are. It's not exciting football to watch. They're not producing the results they need all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting thing is Ragnarok has like a 2-year deal or something to where he's still involved on the board now.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to bring in someone that implements his system, most likely.
Right.
So even if he's not there, he's the one picking who's there. Mm-hmm. And you get where I'm going with this, right? Like, even if he's not the one at the wheel, still somehow driving the bus and picking the driver. So I don't know how that's going to work out for United.
Yeah, I get that. I get what you're saying there. Other notable things that happened. Let's see.
The race at the bottom is going to be fun, man.
It's going to be the most interesting race apart from probably race for fourth at this point. Obviously, none of them getting any results other than Leeds. I think I would say Leeds is safe personally. I think it's between this bottom four.
Now, level with Everton. They're getting healthier. I don't think that we can put them on the same plane as the Watford, Burnley, Newcastle, Norwich group.
Yeah. I agree. Norwich getting the slap again today. I mean, it was only 2-0, but it should have been like Jared Bowen should have scored like 5 goals.
It should have been 5
by himself.
Antonio missed a sitter too.
Yeah, and so there's no way I'm writing off Norwich. There's absolutely no way they're making it out of this. In my opinion, I
agree.
I think Newcastle have to do some really good business. I mean, so we should talk about who they just bought, Chris Wood. From Burnley.
The direct rival, obviously, their starting striker.
Right, which is interesting, especially now that Burnley are missing Cornet because of African Cup of Nations. I mean, that may only last another week or two.
It wasn't even like they wanted to sell him. They just paid his release clause off the jump. They just paid it and said, great, you're coming. You don't have a choice. We bought you. So very interesting move by them. Obviously, the injury to Callum Wilson probably playing some part of that. And Newcastle have been trying to be active in the transfer market. They put in a $40 million bid, I believe, for a Lille center back, Botman, which they rejected. Mm-hmm. So they're starting to flex their financial muscles. It's just a matter of who's going to accept their terms and play ball with them. But
yeah, I mean, they bought Trippier, which is I think is a great signing for them.
No, he is. It's just a matter. Well, they literally bought him in his first game, and they got booted out of the FA Cup by some League 3 team, which is wild. But it doesn't matter. They need to focus on the league anyways. I still think they're going to need more reinforcements.
Yeah, they're going to need more defensive reinforcements, in my opinion.
Definitely in defense, probably in midfield, because, I mean, Willock hasn't been cutting it this year, and Shelby isn't that
Willock
guy.
has barely even played the last couple of games.
Yeah, and that was a £25 million investment, which I know now for them is nothing, but at the time it was a lot of money for them.
True.
And then Watford.
Yeah, I think Watford. If I had to back any of these teams to make it out of it, I think it'd still be Watford personally. Maybe I don't know. Burnley still have 2 games in hand.
I'm still backing Burnley purely for Sean Dyche.
I don't know. They're gonna have to sign someone else. Vidra or who the heck else do they have? Rodriguez are not gonna get it done.
Yeah.
I don't even think is Ashley Barnes still available.
I don't know. I don't know if he's injured or not, but I mean, yeah, without Cornet, I know Ivory Coast won their first game today as well, so that's bad news for Burnley
Does
fans.
Cornet start for them?
I'm not sure. I know that Pepe and Zaha were benched to start today,
I would
which
assume
is
Cornet probably started then.
I would assume he starts for them at left back. Hard to imagine they have a better left back than him. Um, but we'll see. Other than that, I really don't know. I still want to back Burnley just because Dyche is like kind of a master at this.
Mm-hmm.
But also Newcastle could go drop 150 million next week and come back with a ridiculous team that could easily stay up. So you never and Burnley aren't going to do that.
I
Burnley,
still think you might think this is a hot take. I still think Brentford might get sucked into this relegation battle at some point. I'm not will I'm more willing to say Leeds are safe than I am to say Brentford are safe.
I mean,
Personally.
they've looked really poor as of late. I think that what they did at the beginning of the season will help them a lot, and I think that they do have enough quality to stay up and steal points every now and then. So I'm not willing to put them in that category yet. I still
That's
think it's
fair.
the four teams there. I
I
still think that I'm a huge fan of Ivan Toney as a player. I think he has too much responsibility in this Brentford side. He's supposed to play like the 9 and the 10 almost at times.
yeah.
So, but I think they have enough talent. And then Villa, in the middle there, they've been making some transfers too, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, we'll cover that when we go over kind of the fixtures, which honestly we can go ahead and move into. So let me swap it up here. Fantasy, if it'll load. Hello? Question mark.
Been gone so long the website stopped working. I should say I've been gone so long. The reason that Chris did a solo episode, by the way, everybody for wondering, was I was on a flight when he recorded that. So
Is the site down at the moment?
it was working for me. I mean, if it pulls up there, it should work.
All right, let's try one more time. It's literally not loading. Are you seeing this?
I will literally just pull the matches on my phone, and we'll just talk through them, and we can leave.
I mean, we can do that, and then if it comes back up, it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to last Thursday, I guess, to start.
The first game of this game week.
We're going to do New Year's. Yeah, it would have been Arsenal Man City, right?
That sounds right to me.
Yeah, let's start. Well, the one before, because it was a postponed game, and then there was Man United Burnley. But I think that was the last one. So let's start with Man City Arsenal. 2-1 Man City.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't deserved at all. It wasn't.
It really wasn't.
It wasn't deserved. I mean, I don't want to blame the ref, but that was some of the worst refereeing decisions I've ever seen in my life. Whether it be
Here we go.
the no penalty on Odegaard, the penalty for Bernardo Silva. Yeah, there you go. So Arsenal played incredible.
First half is the best I've seen us play all year.
The best first half I've ever seen. We were taking the game to City. They were nervous. They looked bad. We were dominating possession. We had 15 straight minutes of the first half where City couldn't get the ball past midfield with possession.
Mm-hmm.
Where we just locked them in, made them kick the ball long, won it back, and just kept going at them. Mm-hmm. And eventually it led to a goal by Saka. And it was a 1-0 lead. And at halftime, all the Arsenal fans were buzzing. And in the span of like 2 minutes, everything went wrong.
Yep.
Everything. It was a very questionable penalty with Bernardo Silva going down in the box. Went down very easily. It was then a red card for Gabriel, or sorry, not a straight red, 2 yellows, one of which he got for asking the referee how that penalty was different from the no call in the first half. It just seemed like the referee was very happy to give any Arsenal player that said a word a yellow card, and was very hesitant to keep that energy with the Man City players. Mm-hmm. And then late, of course, it was Rodri, who should have been probably booked so many times in this game, that scored the winner for City. But Arsenal, even down to 10 men, fought as hard as they could, and this one was a just heartbreaking loss for the Gunners, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. It's just frustrating because it's like games like this where we could really make a statement, and then end up, we played our butts off in the first half. The first half was incredible, like so fun to watch, and Saka putting away that Tierney assist, and then we just come out in the second half a little bit like just lacking focus, really, and I personally think it's a penalty. Like because
I don't because you can't call that but not call the one in the first half.
no, I'm not saying that the one in the first half wasn't a penalty. I think that was absolutely a penalty as well. But if you pull like regardless of if they're almost already falling, if you pull on somebody's shirt in the box and VAR exists, they're gonna call it a pen, regardless of if he was maybe already falling or not. You just can't do that in the modern era.
I still think it was a terrible call. He fell the opposite way of the shirt pull as well. To me, it was a blatantly obvious dive by Bernardo Silva, and then the red card itself was ridiculous. Back, just asking what the difference was with the fouls is what he said it was. I don't agree with it in the slightest. Obviously, I'm biased. I think that there are a lot of fans of neutral teams that would tell you the refereeing was a atrocious game, but end of the day, City get the 3 points and a really, really tough result for Arsenal fans, but also a lot of promise shown from the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think we at the very least deserved a draw here.
Yeah.
I think it's disappointing the Gabriel thing. I think I don't think he should have gotten a yellow to begin with, but his second one when he was on a yellow, he should have known better.
Yeah, I mean the second one was a yellow, but to give the first yellow for the literally just it's just bad refereeing in my opinion. He never had the game under control, specifically from the Arsenal point of view. It just seemed like every decision went City's way that day.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. It definitely did. I'm not going to argue with that at all. I don't agree with a lot of the things that the referee did. I think maybe they got a couple things right. Maybe VAR got a couple things right, really, more so than the actual referee on the pitch. But yeah, overall, anyways, Arsenal deserved to win this game. We played really, really well. But people are talking about it as Arsenal went out and showed that Man City can be got at. So
you can take the game to them, because when Man City lose, a lot of the time it's a fluke counter and they just hit the post a lot or they can't score and whatever. But no, for the first 45 minutes of that game, Arsenal were the catalyst.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on, Watford 0, Spurs 1. This was a late winner for Spurs. Winner. It was honestly one of the most boring games I've watched all season. I watched it because I have Son in my team, but
he did the assist.
Yeah, I mean he got the assist off a set piece that Sanchez headed in last second to give Spurs all 3 points. Emerson Royale is one of the I think I texted in the group message. I feel like I'm watching Bellerin 2.0, but almost worse.
That's insulting to Bellerin, to be honest.
Dude, he cannot cross the ball at all.
I saw a report on Twitter the other day. And it was Matt Law, I believe he's a journalist for the Daily Mail or some big publication overseas. And his report was that Barcelona literally couldn't believe when Tottenham bid excess of 20 million for Emerson Royale.
Yeah.
The report was literally Barcelona are still shocked that Emerson Royale had bids come in over 20 million because they just could not believe the fact that some club was willing to pay that for him.
Yeah, I don't think he's a good player. I think he might do okay in the system because Conte has got them playing well in this back five at least. But
they may have signed the two worst right backs I've ever seen in Doherty and Emerson Royale.
Doherty was a goat at Wolves, bro.
At Wolves. Yeah, there's a big difference. There's a big difference from his Wolves career to when he's done at Spurs.
Well, the thing about that is obviously they brought in Doherty pre-Conte and they were playing four in the back, and Doherty cannot play right back. He can only play right wing back. And even then
now he's being asked to play left wing back all the time.
Yeah.
Reguilón's injured. And so now he's having to play left wing back, and he looks like a lost puppy over there.
Yeah. Well, that's not really his position, so
yeah,
it's understandable. But yeah, I mean, Spurs squeaked out the win. There's not much more to say on this game.
Son's injury, you can talk about that.
We'll go ahead and get into it. Son's got an injury. He's expected back game week 24, which is February 9th, I think.
So about a little less than a month now.
So
for him
within the that's 2 game weeks technically from now, but they have a double game week this week and one obviously in game week 23 as well, so he'll be missing at least 3 games. So I own Son. I'm going to be getting rid this week. He's going to be my transfer out. I haven't necessarily decided for who. It'll be for a double game week player most likely. Well, not most likely. I would say almost certainly. But I haven't decided on who I want that player to be yet. I may even take another -4 this week, even though that didn't work out for me this week with my Everton players not playing their second game. We'll get into that later. But yeah, Son's injured. It should be said. I don't know how do you think that affects Harry Kane? Because I'll be honest, Kane hasn't been great all season, but he's been. If you look at his statistics and his numbers, they've been better as of lately, much better.
I think it's going to go down. You're losing the biggest. I'll say this season, Son's been a bigger threat than Kane. No ifs, ands, or buts. So You're losing that. Everyone's going to get focused. Who's the next biggest threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a team loses their best player, you next man up, and they're going to focus Kane a lot more.
Yeah.
So I think his numbers are going to go down. I think chances created for him are going to go down. I think chances that he creates for Son are going to go down because Lucas simply isn't as good as Son. Isn't going to make the same runs. Doesn't provide the same threat. So obviously you're losing your best attacking player. I expect the team's attacking numbers to go down. I think that Spurs will be in a lot of defensive-minded games. I think they'll try to play on the counter the best they can, and they're going to sit with that 5 at the back and those 2 holding mids like Holzberg and maybe Skip sitting in front of him, maybe Lo Celso even.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have to try to play teams on the counterattack because it's going to be really tough to take a game to a team.
Well, and that's the thing. If they're playing on counterattack, they're missing their best counterattacking player. So,
yeah. It's going to be on Lucas to fill his boots for the time being because they're selling Bergwijn as well.
They're selling Bergwijn? Why?
Bergwijn's available as a transfer. Ajax have put in a bid. Hasn't been accepted. Conte is very willing to let him.
Where did Bergwijn come from?
PSV Eindhoven, I believe.
That's right.
So Conte is very willing to let Bergwijn go, according to Fabrizio.
Yeah, he just unfortunately doesn't fit in this system. Obviously,
no, he doesn't. He doesn't fit the team.
He's a winger in a 5 in the back team.
So he'll be leaving.
Kind of similar to Pulisic in the Chelsea team, to be honest. But Pulisic's been kind of
Pulisic
playing.
is just more talented than Bergwijn is.
Yeah.
So he kind of makes it work. But yeah, I would expect Bergwijn to may have played his last game for Spurs, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
well, we'll come back to Spurs a bit because they do have a double game week this week, so we should talk about them a bit more in terms of their assets. But let's move on for now. Palace 2, West Ham 3. This was West Ham's first game of the game week. Michael Olise is impressive.
Oh my God. He might be the signing of the season for $7 million, bro. Like that's a mad thing.
He's impressive.
He's insane.
Yeah.
He can play like through the middle. He plays on the wing. He's young. Did you see his boots, by the way, for this game?
No.
It was the FA Cup game. So Palace wore this like white and like
that was the FA Cup game. Yeah.
Yeah, almost a Carolina blue, like North Carolina blue, like kit. And he got the old school Hyper Venoms to match the kit. Mm-hmm. And I was like, nah, man, this kid's got the sauce, bro. Mm-hmm. And he was tearing them up in the FA Cup too. So he's a beast, man. But unfortunately for Palace, it wasn't enough as it was Lanzini, who's been getting a lot more minutes as of late for West Ham.
Yeah.
With the brace and then Antonio finally scoring another goal. Been a minute for him since that drought he was on. Shout out Declan Rice. Shout out Declan Rice for the assist this game. Shout out the GOAT Ryan, baby. Declan Rice fan club over here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, get it out. Michael Olise I think is really good. I think he'll actually stay in this team now. I mean, he's getting his minutes now because Zaha's away at AFCON. Mm-hmm. But I think when Zaha comes back, I mean, Zaha will obviously play, but I think Olise is going to solidify this right wing spot personally. So I think it'll be a front 3 of Zaha, Olise, and probably Edouard in the middle, or maybe Benteke every once in a while. But Palace looked decent. It was not the Conor Gallagher show for once. I think he was actually out of this game with COVID, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I believe he's been out for a couple of weeks, but he should be back
So
now.
He should be back this upcoming week. Like you said, Lanzini on penalties. So when he's playing, he's on pens. One of his goals was a penalty. Bowen shot a ball in the box, hit a hand, so it was a handball pen, and slotted it away nicely. I actually plugged him in the video I put together last week as a differential because I knew with Benrahma off the AFCON and Benrahma played this game. He didn't play the second game of this week.
The game today you're talking about. We'll go over all the names that you need to know that are gone for AFCON too.
Yeah, we'll go over that.
just in case. But Ben Rama's.
Yeah, I think Lanzini's a decent pick. I still think obviously Bowen's the one to go with if you're going with one in the midfield. But if you wanted a midfield double up for this week because they have a double game week, I think, obviously I plugged Lanzini for a reason. But Antonio getting on the score sheet finally. And, that's about all she wrote. Unfortunate for me as a Johnson owner because he got a yellow card in the first half and then substituted in the second half for Arthur Masuaku, who came on for him. And he also didn't play today with Creswell finally making his return.
Looks like he's back to being
yeah, I would assume Creswell starts from here on out. So
if Creswell's healthy, he's starting at left back.
Yeah, for sure. So a bit unlucky there for me, for sure, getting a 0-pointer off a double game week player there that I thought was pretty nailed on, but it is what it is. I don't think he's an option moving forward, so I'll be looking to move him on eventually, but he's kind of low-hanging fruit for me at the moment. I don't even know if I used that correctly. I think I did, but he's not a priority is what I really meant to say. So, but West Ham putting 3 points up on the table was important for them. They almost let it go. They almost let it slip because they were up. Were they up 3-0? They were up 2-0 at least.
Yeah, they had a 2-goal lead at, I think, multiple points during this game. So
yeah. Okay, let's move on. Brentford getting a interesting win against Aston Villa.
I think it's a massive win for them, honestly. Like, they've been struggling as of late. Tony was out for – I don't even think Tony – no, Tony did play this game, but he was out for a while. And this is a Villa team that – dude, they're talented on paper. Like, they are just looking good.
And they've been good ever since Gerrard came in as well.
Yeah, Gerrard's come in. He's done a job for them, and they've just looked really, really good on paper, but it just hasn't seemed to click for them. I guess we can get into it now. Obviously, there's two big names that are joining Aston Villa. The first being the magician, Philippe Coutinho. He's coming in FPL at $7 million. I think it's a little steep, and I would wait. I wouldn't buy him off the jump. I don't know if he becomes a direct starter. I don't know if he's going to be eased in. He obviously was not playing much at Barcelona in the slightest, so I don't know how match fit he is.
Yeah.
And the second one, which was just announced today, medicals are set to be soon, is Lucas Digne, the Everton left back from France. He obviously has beef with Rafa Benitez. Simply hasn't played for like the better part of a month, honestly.
Yeah, but good player. He's a good player.
Oh, no, he's a very good player. He's a very good player on his day, but him and the manager did not see eye to eye. They did not agree on many things, and the second the window opened, he was basically telling them, get me out of here.
Yeah.
And they did. So I think it's about a $27 million fee that they're paying Everton to bring in Digne. And those two are both names that specifically, I think Digne is one that could just take the spot immediately on the left side. And
over Matt Target.
That could, I would be a little more hesitant on getting Coutinho immediately, but he's definitely someone that could be just insane.
I mean, I definitely think he can slot in there. Like he's better quality over like Jacob Ramsey, even though like Ramsey's done well. He's a better overall player. So, I mean, depending on if he can come in and impress Gerrard. Obviously, we know that he played with Gerrard.
So they know each other well.
At Liverpool. It's just about can he get him firing. Watkins did not play this game. I think he had a last-minute, was it illness or something?
Probably, yeah.
But Ings played through the middle, scored a nice goal, for a great assist from Buendia.
He almost scored he did score and got ruled out in the FA Cup as well against United this past week.
I mean, I always like a fit in firing Ings but my worry is obviously he's decent money. I don't know if I would want to spend the money for him if I'm not 100% sure he's going to start.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brentford getting the win. I mean, Vissa has been good for them when he's playing. I think he's been better than Mbemo.
Yeah.
When he's played for the most part. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the other goal scorer. But I mean, a big win for them, and Frank getting it done. That they needed that for sure.
They needed a win. And then honestly, they did play again, and they got battered by Southampton earlier.
Yeah, we'll get there.
That later.
We'll get there. Moving on, Everton in their what should have been their first game of the week ended up being their only game of the week. Lost 2-3 to Brighton at home. McAllister with a
And
brace for Brighton.
those of you that brought in Gordon and McAllister.
Yep.
Yeah, GG's if you brought in Gordon and McAllister, you clearly know something that none of us
Yeah,
do.
let me know what the
I saw
lottery
a tweet
ticket
that was
numbers
your
are.
favorite it, but it was like, no, you weren't considering Gordon this week. Shut the hell up. You were not considering Gordon.
Well, he that was who got the assist podcast, and they had the reason I replied to it is because they had tweeted the same thing about Lanzini, and I tweeted my video of me plugging Lanzini, and he said touche. But I was like, no, you're right. Nobody considered Gordon.
Nobody in their right mind was looking at Everton and being like, yeah, Gordon's probably the shout here today.
Yeah, no, I brought in the fraud Damari Gray against my better judgment.
But it happens. But anyways, yeah. On top of that, Calvert-Lewin missed a pen, which ended up obviously being very important because they lost the game by 1.
Excuse me. Yeah, well, it's funny because nobody was considering Anthony Gordon, but the guy is 4.5 bench fodder in FPL, and he does look like he's actually gonna be playing most games under Benitez now. I
don't want to cut you off, but there are heavy rumors that Everton are going to bring in Amar El Ghazi from Villa.
Yeah, I know you said.
I think that could very much hamper his minutes.
Yeah, it could potentially. I think he's been one of their best players as of recently, but I don't think he's got buckets of talent either. So don't get me wrong there. But yeah, I brought in Calvert-Lewin this week for who was my transfer out? I think it was Ollie Watkins, actually. I can't even remember, to be honest. But I brought in Calvert-Lewin this week, and then I took a -4 to upgrade my bench fodder midfielder to Damari Gray in hopes that, they've got 2 game weeks this week. If either of them score, that pays back my hit already. And Calvert-Lewin missed a penalty and got me a 0-pointer. Because he got -2 and played the games. And then Damari Gray got me a 2-pointer. And I did not get to see them play what they should have played Leicester. But Leicester somehow bent the rules to get that game postponed, which don't even get me started on the ruling for that. I don't understand it at all.
Bro, it's been the same thing for Liverpool. We should be playing our second leg of the Carabao Cup semi tomorrow. We're playing the first one.
Yeah.
Because Liverpool managed to have 10 false positives. Or something.
Yeah.
They had I think they said they had 10 cases.
Well, the thing with Leicester is Leicester didn't even claim any COVID cases. It's basically like, hey, we have people at AFCON and we have people that are injured.
Or injured, yeah.
Like that. Okay, you should have to play whoever you have to play.
Play your academy kids, make it work. That's what they told Arsenal first game of the season against Brentford.
Yeah.
We were like, we played Balogun up front. He hasn't started a game for us all year. Maybe one Carabao Cup game he started after that against some small team.
Yeah.
But they literally just had tough luck. But now it looks like the Premier League are basically just willing to delay it.
It just seems so sketch. I don't like it at all.
Well, that's how I feel about Liverpool and the Carabao Cup thing, because that one's actually sketch, claiming all these positive cases, and then the Premier League does their own investigation and only one of them is a true positive. The sheer odds on that are beyond negligible.
Yeah.
And it was done from an independent lab too, it was like their own independent lab gave the results. And I'm like, that's weird, bro.
Yeah, that's sus for sure. But Brighton getting the 3 points here. Is Benitez starting to feel the pressure?
I don't think so yet. I think that he's just now getting his team back. I think that they're finally scoring again, even though they're losing 3-2. I'm not that concerned for Everton. I don't think it depends on what your expectations are. Are you trying to push for Europe? If so,
not this year, certainly.
I know, obviously, will you give Benitez time to do that? Will you give him financial backing to do that? Will you keep his players? It's been on record that Calvert-Lewin, if Arsenal can't sign their main target, he's a very strong contender for the next man up for Arsenal. So will you let him keep his players? Will you let him strengthen the squad? It basically comes down to the patience of the board and the fans with Benitez, because obviously the first season you can't expect miracles, right? Are you willing to wait a little bit? Are you willing to suffer a little bit for potentially something great?
Yeah.
Or are you just going to be waiting for nothing?
That's fair. Everton do play Norwich this week. Norwich look horrible, so I'm happy to have my double up on Calvert-Lewin and Gray for at least another week. Gray will basically sit the bench for me majority of the time. I might even bench him this week to play Saka against Tottenham. But yeah, we'll get there later. Not much to talk about from an FPL perspective in this game at all. Like, genuinely, there's nothing to talk about. Brighton do have a double game week coming up. I think a couple players of note for them are Lamptey, Trossard, and Maupay, I guess. My worry about Maupay is always his minutes, because you're never sure if he's going to play every game. But I think if I had to pick, I like Cucurella and I like Lamptey for this double game week. Those would be my top targets if I was bringing in a Brighton player. You could also bring in their keeper.
Cucurella is a player, bro.
Yeah.
Apologies if you can hear that ringing.
No worries. Let's move on. Leeds won 3-1 against Burnley. Burnley were pretty poor in this game, all things considered.
Yeah, Leeds finally getting healthy. You can see the goal scorers there, Dallas, Harrison, and James. Three of their better-known players. For Burnley, man, I don't know what to say. Like, it really does just kind of – I don't want to say because I still do back Sean Dyche as a manager who can take nothing and make it survive in the Premier League. But they need something, and losing your top striker at the midpoint of the season is not what I meant by that.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see, because Dyche has done this almost like Wenger-esque type of management where he doesn't cost the club money. He takes what they have in the academy, he buys very cheap, and he somehow makes it survive, and they just profit.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they finally drop a bag on a striker, because they desperately need one.
Well, if they can replicate the success of this Cornet signing with another striker, or even come close to it,
I'd be shocked if they're not knocking on our door for Nketiah, to be honest. Would be under 10 million, final 6 months of his contract.
Yeah.
Basically be handed a starting Premier League striker role. I'd be shocked if he's not someone that's on their list.
Yeah, I just don't know if he'll want to go to Burnley. I feel like Burnley is where attackers go to die. I mean, Cornet obviously an exception this year so far. But
I mean, Chris Wood, obviously now he's joined Newcastle, but his Premier League record for Burnley is outstanding, honestly. Like,
yeah, he's been poor this season, though.
I know this season's bad, but like over time with Burnley, like his record and goal score, it's been terrific.
Yeah.
So, but obviously Burnley don't win many games 4-2 or 5-4. It's 1-0, 2-1s. That's how they get by in the Premier League. That's who they are.
Yep. Okay. I think we should talk about Burnley real quick, because they have a double game week this week as well.
Yeah.
I think obviously Cornet's not an option. He's away at AFCON, and that's the only attacking option I would even consider. The only thing that I could maybe throw out there is Charlie Taylor or Matt Loughton, because they're cheap defenders.
I think they're still bench fodder even with the double game week. I have no faith in Burnley to keep clean sheets right now.
That's fair. I mean, I always back Burnley as a defensive team overall, and they will keep like cheeky clean sheets when you're not expecting them to. But on current form, I don't necessarily disagree with you. But they play
I'd rather take a punt on the center back and hope they score a goal if there's something, honestly, like a Mir or Tarkowski.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, they play Leicester at home and Watford at home for their double game week. So both games at home, they could maybe keep a clean sheet against Watford. I don't think they'll keep it cleany against Leicester, but they could.
Yeah, you never know. Leicester.
But Pope, who's been their savior most seasons, has been really, really poor this season so far.
Yeah, he was really pushing for that England number one. I think it was 2 seasons ago, and everyone's like, "How is Pickford getting in over this guy? Like, he's insane." And to be fair, his play was backing it up. Yep. Obviously, now the debate's moved on to it's just Ramsdale head and shoulders above everybody, but it's tough for him because I do think like in a different team, Pope would be a terrific goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But the sheer amount of work he has to do every game is insane.
Yeah.
This may have been the game of the weekend, honestly.
Yeah, well, let's go on to it. Chelsea 2, Liverpool 2. This was at Stamford Bridge. Yeah,
Liverpool jumped out to a very early lead. Sadio Mane with his signature "I'm going to elbow you in the face and get away with it" move.
He does love that.
No, he's done it so many times. Yeah. He did it Tierney against us.
I know. I remember. That's why you're saying it, because it's fresh in your mind. But yeah.
No, that was like a year ago. bro. He did it so many times where he literally just gets his elbow, clocks some dude in the throat, and then he's just like, "Oh no, I'm just shielding the ball." No, dude, we know what you're doing. It's cheap, it's whatever, but you get away with it. Scores a very early opener after getting away with one of those. Salah makes it 2-0. Everyone their dog is like, "Oh my god, Liverpool are cakewalking this game. It's over. It's done." We're like wait, 20 minutes in before it was 2-0 or something.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Kovacic hit the goal of the month on the first day of the month. That's your Premier League goal of January, by the way, by a mile. It's not even close.
Yeah.
It's a screamer of a volley. Pulisic, the American, getting on the score sheet too. And then the second half was, I don't want to say boring because it was 2-2 first half, but it wasn't nearly as exciting. Liverpool doing this also without Alisson in net.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Alisson saves either goal, to be fair. Mm-hmm. Specifically, the first one was just a once-in-a-lifetime hit by Kovacic.
Yep.
But yeah, absolutely insane. And now it's even more insane too because both of Liverpool's goal scorers are currently playing in AFCON.
Yep, true. So yeah, I think in this run of AFCON, I think Jota and Trent are pretty much must-haves. They're going to be looking to both of them for attacking prowess. I think Firmino would be an interesting pick. Personally.
I could see him going down the middle with Jota playing off the left or something.
Yeah. Well, it'll be a front three of what? Jota, Firmino, and who?
That's what I'm trying to think. Like, are you going to play?
Origi?
Like, I guess Origi's the only.
Minamino maybe because he's done well for them in the cup games.
Yeah, maybe Minamino, but him, Origi, and Firmino all kind of play that central position.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you going to just kind of take a punt and push like someone like Oxlade-Chamberlain up higher and then stack your midfield more? Like, I don't know. Because Ox used to play on the right for Arsenal back in the day.
Yeah.
So he's done it before, which is why I named him. They're also obviously missing Naby Keita to AFCON. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really kind of like they go from an embarrassment of riches to who can we get right now. I think that they're probably going to be hit by AFCON harder than any other team, honestly.
Oh, yeah. I think
because of how important Salah and Mane are to that team and their goal contributions, I think that losing them is massive.
Who knows? Maybe they'll have another 10 fake COVID cases and get it postponed.
No, they can make those up real quick, bro. They have their own independent labs, so they can really do whatever the hell they want. And, dude, also Klopp, bro, did you see his interview the other day where he was just roasting a reporter? The reporter asked him basically, like, last year you guys were cruising at the start of the year, and then you had all these injuries, and now kind of the same thing. You're having a great start to the year and having all these COVID cases. Do you see any similarities between, like, this and, like, how quickly things can change in the Premier League? And Klopp just interrupted him, like, 5 times, was just incredibly rude to him, telling him it was, like, a dumb question and stuff. I've never wanted to beat a brother more in my life than I do tomorrow to them, dude. He is just way too arrogant right now. Like, he needs a
yeah, Klopp can be like that. He gets irritated very easily. Rude.
It's like the dude's just trying to do his job. I mean, like, to be fair, it wasn't a dumb question. It's like last year you had a bunch of injuries. This year you had 10 COVID cases that but, like, do you see a similarity? Like,
you're breaking up a lot at the moment. I can't really hear you, but you're frozen on my screen. But I'm gonna go ahead and talk, so hopefully you can you'll join me in a sec. Oh, I think you're back.
I think I'm back.
Okay. Well, let's move on from that. Yeah, it was a great game, great top of the table game, 2-2 draw. I think it was a decent result for both teams, everything considered. But obviously, if they were actually pushing for first, they probably would have wanted one way or another to get the points there. But yeah, we talked about this earlier on. Man United lost 1-0 to Wolves at Old Trafford. It was just a horrible performance from United altogether. Matinho getting the winner. He likes to score against United.
Should have been 3-0, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, United just didn't offer anything going forward at all. They looked lost. Effort. The one thing I've noticed about Ronaldo is he doesn't hold up the ball at all. It's like if he gets played the ball with his back towards goal, he's looking for an instant layoff so that he can then run again. He doesn't ever, I have not seen him once, taking the ball with his back towards goal and either shifted play or like tried to turn the guy on his back. He just doesn't do it. He'll just instantly lay off the ball. And I think without Bruno in this team, they're missing creation for sure, a creative aspect in the team. And I just don't love the formation for them.
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not pressing football. It's depressing football.
Yeah.
Like literally, it's so boring to watch. My friend, he's a big United fan. Every week he texts me. He's like, this isn't better than Ole. He's like, this isn't better. I don't care. Like, this is mad boring to watch. We're not exciting. We're not creating anything.
Yeah.
We play for 1-0 games.
Yeah.
Every game we play for 1-0, and we hope we hit a counter, a corner, something, and we play for 1-0. And Wolves took the game to them. I thought that even though he didn't score directly or get the assist directly, I thought that Adama Traore came on and changed the game. They couldn't handle him. He was creating chances down the right, and it was his cross that initially got crossed in, headed out, and then led to the Matinho goal. They just couldn't handle him. And although he doesn't score, he was causing a problem for Luke Shaw down that line. And they defended very well, but at the same time, I don't want to give them too much credit because it wasn't difficult.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Wolves defensively have been good all
really
season.
Make sure they were everywhere at the right time. And
yeah, well, I mean, like I said, Wolves have been good all season defensively. I think they have the second or third best defensive numbers in the league. Sa looks like a great goalie for them, great signing overall, and I think you could, I haven't looked at Wolves fixtures at all, to be honest. I don't know what they look like at the moment, but
we were supposed to play them. I think we might have a reschedule with them soon.
I want to look at their let's see. They actually have decent fixtures. So they got Southampton at home, game week 22, then Brentford away, then they play us, then they play Spurs, then they play Leicester, then they play West Ham. It's kind of a mixed bag. But I think they're really good defensively. I think around game week 28, people will be looking to get in some defensive players because that looks like when their fixtures start to get a bit easier overall. But not much more to say about this. I still think Ronaldo is a good FPL asset. I think he's probably one of the top captaincy options for this game week ahead of their double game week, but we'll get into that when we look at the fixtures. Let's go ahead and wrap up this game week pretty quick. So this is the last two games of this game week. This were the second part, basically. Southampton came out, battered Brentford 4-1, just not a result that I was expecting at all. I mean, Southampton have been decent going forward, but I was not expecting them to beat Brentford 4-1. One of them was an own goal by their keeper.
Very unlucky.
I didn't even see it,
unlucky.
But
it hit the post. The keeper was like diving, hit the post, and as he dove, the ball came back off the backside of his hand and went in. So very unlucky. And that was actually the goal that made it 2-1 as well.
Yeah.
So
very
unlucky.
Livermento did not play this game. He's got a knee injury still. Broha looks like when he starts to be a good striker for them. And
Isn't he on loan from Chelsea too?
Yeah, he's on loan from Chelsea.
That's insane how much talent they have out on loan. Gallagher and Broha.
Yep.
That's mad. I saw that today. Southampton were basically saying like, yeah, we want to buy Broha like immediately, basically. Like we want to keep him.
Oh, I'm sure they do want to keep him.
Yeah,
I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to. I mean, so looking at Broha's an interesting one because, I mean, they don't have a double game week this week, so you wouldn't be looking to bring him in this week most likely. But when he starts, he's doing the business for them for the most part. I mean, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals on the season, which isn't bad for a 5.3 striker that hasn't started every game. So, decent option, but I mean, I wouldn't want a Southampton player right now. It looks like their fixtures clear up around game week 26. They actually go into a really nice run. Everton, Norwich, Villa, Watford, Burnley, Leeds.
Wow.
So I think he'll be an option then. If you have him now, great job. I mean, I think he's a good player. But other than Broha, there's really no FPL asset I'm thinking about from Southampton. Brentford as FPL assets, I'm just on full avoid mode personally. I mean, great, and Mbeumo got an assist here, but I don't trust. I mean, that's Tony. Tony had 2 games this game week and ended on 2 points. He got a yellow card in both games. So
It's talent, consistency.
yeah, I mean, he, like you said earlier on, he's just being asked to do too much. And
Yeah, I think he's a really good player. I think he would thrive in a different team. I just don't. I just think at Brentford he's being asked to be the creator and the finisher, and it's just way too much stuff that he can't do.
Yep, I agree.
Because he did it in the championship, but the Premier League's a different ball game.
Yeah. All right, and the last game we just watched this today, it was literally the Jared Bowen show. He should have had like 5 goals.
Antonio should have had a goal. Bowen should have had at least 3. Like 3 is being generous. Like I'm rounding down there. He did bag 2. Norwich have 0 threat. I can't think of one time that Norwich were genuinely like, oh wow, they could score here, right? There was no great chance for them. Pukki was back for Norwich. It doesn't matter.
It's been the same story all season. I don't know how many times we said this, but whoever plays on the right-hand side against Norwich, it's points.
Cooked. Brandon Williams gets cooked every day.
The guy is horrible. Like next level bad.
People literally used to compare him to Saka, which is hilarious to me.
He's terrible. And guess who plays him next week? Everton. Guess who plays on the right for Everton? Anthony Gordon.
Dang.
So
yeah, he's gonna cook. I mean, I feel like it's just Norwich in general. Whoever plays them, they cook. Norwich have not scored a goal in 6 straight Premier League games.
Mm-hmm.
Their last win came in November. So like I think that those 2 stats alone tell you everything. Like 6 straight Premier League games, they haven't scored 1 goal.
Yeah,
not 1.
Yeah.
They have no offense. Their signings aren't working. Josh Sargent has turned out to be in god-awful signing.
He's just not even a footballer, to be honest.
No, which sucks because, like, as an American, we want him to succeed, and it's cool that he's playing in the Prem. There's, like, literally him and Pulisic are the only ones, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not working. There's nothing that's working at Norwich right now. They had the new manager bounce with Dean Smith for, like, a couple weeks. That got shut down so fast. Yeah. It's over. For West Ham, as Chris mentioned at the top of the show, it's Bowen, but if you want to take a punt on Lanzini, you can. He is starting more now. Obviously, Ben Rama has gone to AFCON.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd still lean to Bowen. I have Bowen.
Bowen's having an incredible season. He's probably
he deserves an England call-up. He deserves an England call-up so bad.
Yeah, he's probably having his best season that he's had in the Prem, and he's it's almost like I was watching the game today. Mikel Antonio just looks battered and tired. He just looks tired. And like
he's had to carry them the beginning of the season, and then when he goes on international break, he's expected to carry Jamaica fully.
Yeah, well, so and that's my point. Is Bowen is almost making the runs that he was making in the beginning of the season because he just doesn't have the legs for it at the moment.
Yeah, he needs a little bit of a rest, some time off, honestly. But
yeah,
good for Bowen.
I agree.
Picking up the slack. He's picking up the slack of Antonio and Ben Rama, who obviously was a very hot commodity to start the FPL season.
Yep.
He's with the reigning champions Algeria right now of AFCON. I'm 99%.
Yeah, he's not even playing for them. He's on the bench. So
yeah, so he's still gonna be there. I mean,
okay. I'm gonna go ahead and share my results real quick, and then we'll get into the double game week itself. I had a pretty good game week, all things considered. Definitely could have been better. Should have been better, in my opinion. I took a -4 this week to bring in 2 Everton players, which obviously hurt because they didn't play their second game. I think, Calvert-Lewin missed a penalty. That could have been 6 points instead of 0 here. Who knows what they would have done against Leicester, who's had a poor defense all season. I think at least one of them could have gotten an attack and return in that game. Ben Johnson starting the first game of the double game week, getting a yellow card, getting yanked at half. And then, obviously, Creswell made his return today. So, that's not as unlucky. But had he played, he would have gotten a 6-pointer for the clean sheet they kept against Norwich. And then, big man Bowen as the captain, obviously, just absolutely carrying the team. I was a bit nervous because, obviously, Antonio outscored him in the first game. Bowen just came away with an assist, which is an FPL assist. It's not a real-life assist. He literally kicked the ball against someone's hand in the box and got a assist in FPL for it, which cracks me up. but was clearly the best player on the pitch today, and a 21-pointer, 42 with captaincy. That's all you can ask for sure. That's what you want in a double game week player. So happy I had him this week, and happy I put the armband on him. Saka got the goal, obviously on my bench. It made sense to bench him against City. I don't regret that. But happy he got on the score sheet. And yeah, that's pretty much it. De Gea, trying his best to save United, but United are just, I don't know. They're so limbo.
They can't get out of their own way right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, that's Rangnick's first loss in the Prem, but it doesn't feel like that for some reason. It doesn't.
It's because their wins and draws don't feel like with the way that we came away from the first half against Man City. It felt like, wow, like we did that. But when Man United win a game, it's like, we scored a put back tap in and they hit the post twice. De Gea bailed us out.
Right. Yeah, so 75 points -4, so 71 this game week. I think I'm on a small red arrow from where I was. I was at 38K. I think I end the game week on like 40 or 41K, if I remember correctly, looking at the live game week app that I have. But this is how I'm looking ahead of double game week 22. I only have 2 double game week players, which is De Gea and Ronaldo, which is not what you want for a double game week. But the thing about this game week, and I'll get to it once we look at the fixtures, but there's not a whole lot of teams that have like really good fixtures for this double game week. I mean, I think Watford has the best fixtures, followed behind maybe Leicester and United. I mean, Villa and Brentford on paper aren't that great.
Brighton's not great either. They have Chelsea and I think Burnley.
Yeah, so they have Chelsea and Palace.
Palace.
But with Son being out, obviously I would have had 3 double game week players. I think there's a lot of viable options this week. You could free hit if you wanted to. I don't think I will. I just don't think it's worth it with the fixtures. And here's the thing about it too. If I'm free hitting, am I going to take Bowen and Antonio out when they're home against Leeds? Am I going to take Calvert-Lewin and Gray out when they're away against the worst team in the Prem? Am I going to take out Jota and Trent when they're home against Brentford? No, I don't want to do any of those things. I don't even want to take out Cancelo when he's playing Chelsea at home. So it would essentially be me, free hitting to bring in maybe 2 or 3 more double game week players, which I'm just not going to do. So that's kind of where I'm at. Obviously, Son's a big miss. He might have been my captain over Ronaldo this week had he been in the game, but he's not. So this is how I'm looking. I think my transfer rule this week out will be Son for a double game week or probably a Leicester midfielder, but I'm not sure. And then I may, it kind of burnt me last week, but I may try it again. I may take out Antonio for Dennis or King to get one of the Watford strikers for their double game week. So that's kind of on my mind. Those are my thoughts at the moment. But I may just finally just not take a hit for once, because I think I've taken a hit the last like 4 or 5 game weeks, and just do Son to another midfielder and go from there. So that's how I'm looking.
Nice. I will take over.
Go ahead.
Go. Oh, so this is my new team. 1 minute. Let's go to points. I did not have as good of a week. 51's not 55. Not terrible. I didn't take a -4. Sanchez, White, Rudiger, all not doing the business. I accidentally left my armband on Lacazette, but I kind of respect myself for that, if anything. Ronaldo frauding again. Bowen obviously being the majority of those points. Foden coming off. Foden was starting because his discipline breach didn't get leaked until kickoff, basically, when they dropped the lineup. It became news that Foden and Grealish have had discipline problems at City.
Yep.
So Antonio,
I mean, your game week basically is if you would have captained Antonio.
Yeah.
Or not Antonio. If you would have captained Bowen, you would have been right there with me.
Pretty much, yeah. I had a couple players come on for a couple guys that didn't play. It is what it is. And then y'all probably just saw it, but I've already made my transfers. I took a -4 this week.
Making transfers that early?
how I'm lining up. So I took out Foden. I took out I don't even know who else I took out. Some other midfielder, and I took out Ben White, and I brought in double game week. I had Sanchez on a double game week. I brought in Harvey Barnes on a double game week. I think that he, with Vardy's absence, will hopefully do very well. I, like Chris, do have the double up of the West Ham boys because I've had it for like 2 weeks and it works. I think right now, out of anyone in FPL, I think this man right here, Jota, is a must-have with the absence of Salah and Mane, and they could be gone for a while. Both teams, Senegal and Egypt, are very good, so they could have deep runs in
Egypt
AFCON.
lost their first game, though, right?
Although I know Egypt did lose their first game, but they do have a good team. And then I do have 2 Arsenal boys right here. Sissoko, double game week off the bench. I don't love it, but if he comes on, he comes on. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that is more or less what I'm rocking with. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys on double game week. Ronaldo's going to be the captain this week. I don't really think there's much debate as to who should be your captain this week. If you have Ronaldo, I think that's the far and obvious best choice. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think the Arsenal can do a job against Spurs. I still like this. I still like this against Chelsea a lot, honestly. Chelsea's attack isn't crazy threatening, in my opinion.
Yep.
And I think that Rudiger will get better points against Brighton on the road. So I'll stop it there. And yeah, but that's what I'm rocking with going into the weekend.
Sweet. Looks good. Especially since you already have your captain on the right player this time.
Yeah, no, crazy.
Okay, so a lot to talk about in terms of FPL real quick. Obviously, you should know by now that we do have the second wild card available to us. I won't be using that anytime soon, hopefully. I mean, who knows? But it is available, so wild card is available. If you used one free hit already, you still have a second one, and then so on and so forth. Double game week 22. Let me pull up the fixtures for that real quick, Ben. Let's look at them and talk about it real quick. So these are the fixtures. The teams that have double game weeks are Brighton. They play Palace and Chelsea, both at home. Chelsea have a double game week. They play City and Brighton, both away. Burnley have a double game week. They play both home at against Leicester and Watford. And then Watford probably have the best double game week. They play Newcastle away and Burnley away. So those are both important games for them. As far as the relegation battle goes, they're going to need to be getting points. United play Villa and Brentford away, and Spurs play Arsenal at home for North London Derby, and then they play Leicester away. And then finally, the last double game week team is Leicester, who play
Burnley on the road
and Spurs at home. So I think if I had to give my top 5 transfer tip targets of the week, they would be, if you don't already have him, Ronaldo, probably James Maddison. If I had to pick a Leicester player, personally, I think Barnes isn't a bad shout. I also don't think Tielemans is a bad shout, honestly, because he'll be on penalties with Vardy not playing. Mm-hmm. So I think Tielemans is actually a cheeky, sneaky good shout for this double game week. And then my other picks would be Dennis and King, the Watford strikers. And if I had to give one more player, I think Romelu Lukaku could actually do well this week. I know they play.
He looked awful today, by the way, against Spurs.
Did he? Okay, I didn't watch that game, but
bad, but he needs to apologize
against City and Brighton. I think he may be able to score. I think Spurs and Harry Kane will struggle without Son personally, so I wouldn't be going for Kane. Lucas Moura might be a cheeky outside punt shout for this double game week. But that's pretty much it in terms of who I would bring in. Ben already talked about captaincy. I think Ronaldo's the best option personally. Yeah. But who knows? They may continue to be terrible and people will be laughing. I honestly think Dennis is a captaincy option this week. Playing Newcastle and Burnley. And he's the second highest goal scorer in the league this year. So I don't think you can really argue against that. The only concern is he was brought off early in their game this week. I think he might have had a slight injury problem.
He should be at AFCON right now too, but
yeah, obviously not at AFCON. So
didn't let him.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up for me. Did you have any other outside shouts you're thinking about?
Oh, for captaincy, no. Like,
Okay.
If you don't have Ronaldo, get Ronaldo. If not, like, Ronaldo is far and away the best captaincy option this week. There really isn't anyone that like holds a candle to him and his fixtures right now.
Yep, I don't disagree with you. Okay, we got to go all the way back to game week 17, Ben, to see what our picks were.
Oh, jeez.
And I think game week 17, if I remember correctly, is the Salah penalty miss. Or no, okay, it's not.
Did you take Salah this game?
Yeah, I picked Salah. It looks like he got 1 goal against Newcastle. Let me go back and look at what he actually scored that week. Let's see. Game week 17, he scored 8 points. Okay, and you picked Martinelli that week, Ben.
Hell yeah.
I think he blanked that week, but let's check. Let's go. Sorry, midfielders. And let's sort it down to his price range. Martinelli, here we go. All right, game week 17.
Oh, he had the goal against West Ham.
That's true. Okay, so you got a 7-pointer there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gained 1 point on you. That puts it up to, let's see here. You were on 86 points. I was on 83, so you are now on 93.
Mm-hmm.
And I am up to 91.
One should be.
Yep.
Yeah, you gained 1 point on me, so you should be 2 behind me. Sweet.
Okay. All right. It's still close, Ben. It is still close. It's been a while since we made one of these picks.
It's been a minute.
So let me add a row here. Game week 18, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
I picked first with Salah last game week, so your pick is first, my friend. Who you going with? I'll bring back up the picture.
I feel like I should take Ronaldo. Like, that's like the logical thing to do here would be to take Ronaldo because he's on a double game week, right?
It certainly would be, yes.
So I don't want to do that.
You're an idiot.
I just don't want to do it.
I mean, you just sat here and backed him as the best captaincy.
Yeah, no, he's going to captain my team too, but I don't know if I like that as my player pick. That's a lot of faith in him.
I mean, if you're going to pick him, you're going to, like, why would you not want to pick him on a double game week? I don't know why I'm sitting here trying to help you. Please don't pick Ronaldo because I'll pick him.
Because, like, I know you would take Ronaldo, and, like, that's smart. But, like, United have looked so bad.
All right, then pick someone else.
All right, I'm taking Harvey Barnes.
You're an idiot. You're an absolute moron. I want you to know that.
Come back to this when he outscores Pinaldo this week.
All right, we'll definitely take a look at it.
Come back to this when he outscores Pinaldo.
All right, I'm taking CR7. It just makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine. Portuguese penalty merchant.
Hey, I'll be fine if he scores a couple penalties this game week.
No, he's not going to get any.
All right, well, that pretty much wraps it up, Ben. We didn't have any questions this week. We kind of did this last moment, so that makes sense. But that being said, it's a double game week. I think there's a lot of options available to you. If you wanted a free hit this week, I wouldn't say it's a terrible idea. I just personally don't love the fixtures for the double game weeks for the teams that actually have them. So it's not that appealing to me. But if you didn't, like, I only have 2 double game week players. I'm going to bring in 1, so it'll make it 3. Mm-hmm. I think there is room to be made possibly with a free hit this week. I'm just not going to go that route.
It's fair. There will be more double game weeks in the future. But once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for spending your time with us. You can follow us on Twitter. Tweet at us at BorderlineFPL. That's also the Instagram handle. So same handle both places. Make sure you drop a like, drop a comment. If you're doing your player picks, let us know if you're ahead of us. Let us know if you're taking Pinaldo this week as your player pick, or if you want to be smart and take Harvey Barnes. But until then, guys, I have one more episode in me next week, and then I'm going to be dipping for a couple months for work reasons. So I will be looking forward to that, my last episode for about a month next week. But until then, this was the episode.
Yeah, that's it, guys. Can we get 14 likes for the amount of wins Georgia had this season to win the Natty finally from my dogs? 14-1. We finally did it.
Congrats to Chris, his Georgia Bulldogs. Finally won the Natty. For those of you that don't follow college football, they beat Alabama 2 nights ago, I think.
Yeah,
Last night,
finally
2
did
nights.
it.
What day is it?
Finally
Wednesday,
did
2
it.
nights ago. So yeah, Georgia's first title since 1980. Congratulations to them. And
Go Dogs, baby.
yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank
We'll see
y'all.
you next
See y'all
time. Thanks so
week.
much for tuning in. Till next time.
Shout out
Peace.
Harvey Barnes.